Today, as we've announced, is a special edition of our daily sit. It's co-sponsored by DOROT, an amazing social service agency in New York City, and we're really delighted to partner with DOROT today on this sit, which is devoted to the theme of navigating the aging body. I just want to introduce Claire Solomon-Nissen, who is the manager of Lasting Impressions at DOROT and who brought this idea up, and we're grateful for the partnership. Hi, Claire.
Grateful to be here. It's wonderful to be with so many of you. As Rabbi Mark said, DOROT is a nonprofit and community space that aims to enhance the lives of older adults, many of whom are here, by providing opportunities like this in partnership to decrease social isolation and offering programs in person and virtually, where participation is always free, similar to IJS. We retain our Jewish roots, and our reach also has expanded to serve and welcome people of all faiths and cultures in New York City and beyond, as we can see in the chat as well. So we're very grateful to be in partnership and grateful to know about and be able to experience the wonderful work of IJS and to be in community today on this Shabbat. So thank you for letting us be here, and grateful to be together.
Thank you so much, Claire. Really appreciate it. It's great to partner. So I'm very happy to turn things over to our teacher for today, Janice Rous, who's going to be leading us in this practice, applying our Jewish mindfulness practice to navigating the aging body. And so thanks so much, Janice, for leading us in practice today.
Thank you. I hope everybody's able to be comfortable, because it's hard to be mindful if you're uncomfortable. So find a way to be comfortable in your body right now, whether your feet are on the floor, if you need a back rest so you can rest into your back body. Find a way to be comfortable in your body right now. Because if we're not comfortable in our body, we're going to be distracted by all the ways in which our mind is going to try to fix what's going on in our body. So if it's hard for you to get comfortable, can you be in acceptance of where you are in this moment? I'm Janice. I created a practice called Body Dialogue, which you can find out about on my website. And I'm here as a student of IJS and a very early participant of every program that I can participate in. I feel honored to offer my practice today. I do this practice. This is for real. This isn't something I teach and then I forget about. This is a practice I do daily. So it was created in cooperation with Reb Zalman, Dr. Shalomi, who was my mentor and teacher for many years. And when I first did it, it felt a little like, ay, what am I doing? But the more I live with it, the more it feels very real in me. And it grows out of the moment when Moshe confronts God and says, who am I going to say is giving me this job to take the people out of Egypt? And he says, Yud He Vav He, or whatever, the voice, Yud He Vav He. What does this mean, Yud He Vav He? So we're going to place the letters Yud He Vav He, the dynamic energy of that, into our body. And we're going to breathe with that imagery. And I'm inviting you to do it with me. And if it's comfortable for you, great, go with it. If it's not, forget about it. Don't make yourself crazy. This is a prompt. We anchor in our body. We anchor sometimes in visualization. We anchor sometimes in a bracha. This is a visualization that I work with. So I'm just going to say it, and then you have the opportunity to work with it. I'm not in charge here. You are. This is your body. This is your time. This is your opportunity. And I am just here to help you in that moment. If in fact you get uncomfortable and you need to come out of it, just do. Don't wait for permission, okay? If it's not working for you, just follow your breath. So you're going to close your eyes now. If that's okay, if you want to keep them open, that's also okay. But when I do this, I close my eyes I visualize a yud, and the yud is like a flame that comes out of my head. It's just an image. It might have color for you, it might have shape, but it's an image of the letter yud. And then I bring my awareness to my upper body where my collarbone and shoulders are. And I envision and I feel into my whole shoulder girdle a hey, the letter hey, which goes across, down your arms. And it's a container for your heart. So it's an opportunity for you to breathe into your heart. And if you do nothing else, you can just put your hand on your heart and have compassion in this moment for yourself, for anyone you want to bring into the meditation. This is your time. And notice your breath as you do this image. We're going to go down and visualize a Vav. Yud He Vav is the whole spine from the crown down to the tail. We're visualizing a column of light, an energetic flow, maybe a circulation of light, but it's in you. It's not outside, it's in you. And then the final hay is across our pelvis, down into our legs, into the floor, containing the base of our body, our creativity, our productivity. And as you embody the hay, allow the breath to drop all the way down to your base, to your pelvic floor. And I'm going to give you time to just be with this image in your own way, with your breath, in any way that feels right for you. Allow your body and your breath to connect with your heart and your soul, your neshama. So we're bringing together the nishima, the breath, and the neshama, the soul, in this moment, in this holy container. Allow yourself to be present with whatever is showing up. And if it's uncomfortable, know that you're not going to be here forever. Drop back into the anchors that give you comfort. Your back body, however you're seated or lying down. Your legs and your feet. Allow the breath to happen. Don't make it happen. Just allow it. We're just going to sit for a few more minutes in silence. And as you breathe, if you notice any emotion coming up, just be with it. Don't try to fix it. As we complete these minutes of sitting, I want you to acknowledge the courage that it takes to stop everything, take a breath, take a pause in your life, and make this moment holy. It's as if you're giving yourself a little pre-Shabbat moment. Now, as we open our eyes and we come back into the Zoom room, I just want to say that the reason this practice is part of my central daily life is because I am navigating an aging body, and all my friends are too, and my family. And we're all in different places with it. Some of us are like, no, 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 no. I am not aging. Some of us are just totally preoccupied with doctor's appointments. So I want to say, wherever you are on this journey, having a practice, a daily practice that allows you to take time to stop, feel the presence of something larger than yourself so that you're not alone. Allow yourself to be in relationship to that place of compassion, El Mole Rachamim, the part of our Rahmanis, our compassion. Because wherever we are in this journey, whether it's illness or just the daily aches and pains, stopping and saying, here I am in this moment, Hineni, here I am. I can be caught up in my fear, I can be caught up in my busyness, or I can just stop and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here I am in this moment. I am safe in this moment. And I want to congratulate you for deciding that this was important for you today. I have this in my calendar, and so many days I just say, oh no, I'm too busy today. And when I do it, I'm so grateful that I've done it. So I want to really acknowledge the privilege it is that we can actually say, no, I'm not going to be a slave to Zoom calls or to all the things that are really keeping us so preoccupied. And I'm going to be present with my breath. I'm going to be present with my body. And I'm going to just stop. And let the breath be however it is. It might be tight, it might be full. Whatever the sensation is, if you allow it, if you're with it, the mind will quiet because you'll be engaged in the actual sensation of the inhale and the exhale. The sensation of grounding through your feet, feeling your sit bones, allowing your back body to support you. It's such a great pleasure to be able to be with you today. And I hope I'll see you all. And if you want to know more about what I do, it's in the chat. and you're welcome to get in touch with me. I really love doing this work, and this is really what my life is about right now. So I hope we'll meet. Shabbat Shalom, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. So I want to just end with a very soft exhale. So you can do it any way you want. You can hum, you can sigh, you can go ah, you can do om, you can do amen, but just let the air out. And then we'll do one more. And before we go into Kaddish, just visualize, where are you in relationship to those 4 letters now in your body as we enter into Kaddish? Thank you.
Janice, we have I would say about 8 more minutes. If you want to just keep us in the practice, that's fine.
8 more minutes?
Yeah, we
Okay.
have plenty of time.
I would like to suggest that those letters are 3-dimensional. See whether or not you can take those letters into your body, fill the imagery with breath, and just be with it. Just see whatever it means. Don't get into your head. This is not a head practice. This is a heart and breath practice. Be with your sensation, not with your brain. And if you can't turn off your brain, say, Baruch Hashem, this is where my brain is right now, and I get it. Just have compassion. Although I'm reluctant to do this, I keep on hearing this hymn that I learned many, many years ago. It's not a hymn exactly, it's a tefillah. I don't know who taught it to me, but it was part of the renewal world. So I'm going to just sing it to you and you can be with it. And if you don't want to listen, that's okay. But I'm hearing this. Open to me. Open my heart. Let your presence be with me. Open to me. Open your heart. Let your presence be with me. If you know it, just sing it. I am with you, all around you. I fill the universe. Open to me, open your heart. Let your presence be with me. And I just want to dedicate that to Reb Zalman and to Rachel Cowan, my 2 most important Jewish teachers, who gave me the courage to do things like what I just did with you, which, believe me, takes a lot of chutzpah to sing to you. So Mark, now it's in your hands. I'm giving it back to you.
Thanks, Janice. We have about 4 more minutes for our practice. So thank you, Janice, for bringing us to this place. Want to stay where you are. You don't have to go anywhere. That Yud Hey Vav Hey imagery. embedded in your body. And as we did at the beginning, when we began with letting go of whatever you need to let go of, to enter into Shabbat together, we may do the same for with aging bodies, of releasing judgment about the ways in which our bodies change over time. Letting go of expectation. As we move into Shabbat, really a practice of radical self-acceptance and of acceptance of things as they are, exactly as they are right now, in order that when Shabbat is over, we move into the mode of trying to make them closer to the way we envision them they might be. We begin with Shabbat with acceptance. So let's just spend these last few minutes noticing any opinions, judgments about our bodies, and replacing that judgment with, as Janice taught us today so beautifully, with compassion, with rachamim, and maybe with a hand on the heart space, surrounded by that hay, and just breathing for the last 3 minutes of our practice. For the last minute of this time together, maybe seeing if you can notice the arrival of what in Jewish tradition is known as the neshama yetera, the additional soul that arrives to be with us for Shabbat. We might just think about it as a deepened awareness of the presence of our soul in this temporary aging body, aspect of ourselves that's eternal and that fills us with compassion. And welcome that awareness and welcome that additional soul. Your eyes have been closed during our practice. You can let them open and come back to the group. And as Janice did, thanking each other for being here to support each other for this practice. We don't do this alone. And that includes how we seal the practice each day, which is with the mourner's Kaddish. So I really hope people will stay for a moment to support those of us who are in mourning or observing a yard site. Or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish, you're welcome to do so. Thanks to Rachel for sharing the words of the mourner's Kaddish on the screen. If you're honoring the memory of anybody today, a yard site or anyone that you'd like to mention, you can put their name now in the chat or after we recite the Kaddish. And if you are reciting Kaddish, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit. You can unmute at this time. If you're not reciting Kaddish, thank you for your presence and compassion and support for those who are. Yitkadal, Shemei Rabbah, Alma Divra Kivute B'Amichma He, Hayechon Yomechon, Yedechol Beit Yisrael, Lagala Bizman Kaveh, Ru, He Shmei Rabba Barach, Amen Amaya, Rach Yishtabach, Har Kadar Bitalel, Al Shemei Tal Berichu, Ela Mirchata V'Shivata, V'Shpechata V'Nechemata, V'Man Ba'alma, Hesh Lama Rabba Min Shemaya, Im Aleinu Ve'al Israel, Imru, Shalom Bimrama, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Israel, Ve'al Kol Yoshei Tzedam, Ru,
Amen.
Amen.
Yaakov Yoshei Tevel. Amen.
Amen. There goes Israel. Amen.
Amen. Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to especially welcome those of you who have joined us for the first time. And as I mentioned, we're here every day. You can go to the IJS website if you like to sign up to get reminders of, send out a reminder each day, which is a nice little bit of encouragement to join us for the practice. And of course, they're all live streamed as well on our YouTube channel, as I mentioned. Really want to give special thanks to DOROT and to Claire Solomon Nissen for this initiative to sponsor, to partner with us on today's special edition. And we look forward to more in the future, I hope. And thanks
Me
to
too.
Janice.
Me too. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. This was great. And thanks to our teacher for today, Janice Rous. Looking forward to a few minutes of conversation with Janice in a moment. You're welcome to stay on with us if you're leaving us now. I want to wish you Shabbat Shalom. And just a reminder, we'll be back all next week with some wonderful teachers, Monday through Friday. And we'll hope to see you then. Janice, thank you so much. So special. Really so special to be with you. I really would like to, if people have questions, by the way, you can put it in the chat. And if you can preface it by writing question in all caps, that I can keep an eye on the questions. And if you just want to share a reflection on your experience with the practice or anything that came up for you, you're welcome to do that as well in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm also neglected. I want to thank Shira Carmen for sponsoring our practice today in loving memory of your brother, Mao. Thank you so much, Shira. Zichrono Libracha, may his memory be a blessing. Okay, Janice, aging bodies.
There were two questions.
Okay.
One was that people weren't hearing me, so I really apologize. I will speak up for the questions. If you didn't hear that, I apologize terribly.
Okay.
I'm so
Well,
absorbed. So I hope you heard most of it.
I hope so too. I heard you very clearly myself. So maybe for some people it might have been a volume issue. Okay.
So
Well, here's a.
want to say,
Go ahead. Yeah.
the question that came up that I was scrolling was why Yud He Vav He when it's Ehiyah Asher Yeh? And it's because I didn't say that. I'm sorry. We can't say, we don't know, right? How to say Yud He Vav He. So we say Ehiyah Asher Yeh, which is a dynamic of I will be what I am, I will be what I will become. And the reason why I put it in the meditation is because when we're in the breath and in the present moment, we're in that dynamism. And I see it as an opportunity to open ourselves up and to let whatever is being revealed be revealed to us. I see it as a moment of revelation.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that's some help. If you want, whoever the person was,
Okay.
if you want me to talk more about that, I could go on for a long time. I've been thinking about this for a lot.
Well, Heidi asked a question that was really like, I think where I wanted to begin. Heidi's asking, I have trouble reconciling Yud He Vav He in my body with being recently diagnosed with the disease. But which, the question that I had, Janice, which that is related to that is this question of how this awareness of sacred presence relates to our relationship with our bodies as they age, as they, um, as they lose some of their functionality, maybe is a way of thinking about it, right? Whether it's disease or just, the aging process itself. And you were, but the prescription I heard from you was compassion, compassion, compassion. Um, but I think it's a good place to start right there. Navigating the aging body. How do we navigate the aging body? What's your one line suggestion for that? It sounds like it's rachamim, compassion.
Well, it's two things. We are in this body is temporal.
Mm-hmm.
We are living the creative force in our physical body. That's where we get to live it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mortal.
Mm-hmm.
But the breath and our relationship to the divine is immortal.
Mm-hmm.
I see this as a dynamic between our temporality and our eternity,
Mm-hmm.
because when we die, we still have the experience of being alive for many people whose lives we've touched. And I think aging the body has to do with acceptance. And we
Mm-hmm.
can't be in acceptance if we don't have compassion. So I think it's a step process.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I created this course that I created is about that. It's a it's a process of going through. This morning, I'm okay. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be, but I have to be in where I am now. So I think it's a multidimensional opportunity to be present with what is,
Mm-hmm.
to accept with love and compassion and bravery,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. I mean, someone in my family just got diagnosed with a very serious cancer, and it's completely preoccupied my brain, but I have to do something to get through the day, be centered, feel my love, feel my compassion, and not let my body go completely into my brain, which is fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think it's more complex than just compassion, but since I had like 12 minutes to do my whole shtick, that's why I'm inviting people go on what I'm
Well,
doing.
it seems like, acceptance and compassion, it's not like in terms of the recipe that you're offering here, those are two key ingredients, right? Acceptance of things as they are, um, which sometimes for people doesn't feel like a very Jewish thing because Jews are famous for not accepting things as they are and thinking that's very un-Jewish. But it's one aspect of Jewish practice is acceptance as it goes alongside and complements the aspect of no, don't accept the status quo, make a different, make a tikkun, make a repair. But as Andrew writes in the chat, not only aging bodies, but impermanence in general of the body, of being human, is a gateway, as he puts it beautifully, of
Yeah.
any worthy spiritual practice. Um, There's another question here from Rana about, is there an obligation to care for our bodies even when we perceive our bodies are failing us? And I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth, Rana, but I feels in some ways that there's a question behind that question of how we feel when we are feeling like our bodies are quote unquote failing us. Like how would you respond to that? Just that phrase, my body is failing me. What's a practice for meeting that?
So I don't know you and I don't know what your history with your body is, but from a very early age, I was a dancer and I had a very, very severe injury when I was in my teens, and I felt betrayed by my body. Like, how could you do this to me? And I think that's part of why this practice is so important, because our body isn't doing anything to us. We have to be in relationship with loving kindness with our body.
Mhm.
The more we approach whatever is happening as a partnership, a dialogue, a listening, and not, how could you do this to me, being victimized,
Mhm.
changes your relationship to that situation, whatever the situation is. If it's pain, if it's disease, if it's death. I mean,
Mhm.
if you sit at the side of someone who's dying, fighting it doesn't work. I mean, some people fight right up to the end. I've been with many people who fight, and I've been with people who haven't fought, and it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
So
What is dialogue? Let me ask you just in relation to that when, because I know your practice is called body dialogue. What do you mean by dialogue? What's the dialogue with the body?
your body's talking to you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be listening. It's talking to you. Like you can't breathe. Your body's talking to you. It's saying, you're in a panic. You need to let go. Ground. Find the bottom of your breath. Don't be in a panic. I started this practice when I was in pain because I realized my body is my best friend. I can't abandon her. I have to listen to her. And what I find, because I'm a practitioner one-on-one with people, is we talk to our bodies the way we were taught to as children. So can we have compassion for that inner part of us
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the child part? I'm not talking about inner child psychology. I'm talking about the undeveloped, innocent part that just needs love.
Mm-hmm.
If our bodies are treated with love and kindness, we won't have, I can promise you, the neuromuscular experience of that changes. It changes, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of you have this experience, but you can have a really, really creepy day or be having a bad moment. And you go out and you go outside and you open to the air and you see the sun, or you allow your body to soften to whatever that moment is. And the pain doesn't feel as great. Not because you took your mind off the pain, but because literally your fascia responds to your mind. This is a big part of my work. And I
Mm-hmm.
can go on and on about this. If this really is something that interests you, Mark, take
Mm-hmm.
my course and work with me on it, because it is about softening, softening, accepting actually has a physiological impact,
Mm-hmm.
literally. When you breathe into tightness, it softens. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get to see what Andrew said because I can't read and
That's
think.
okay. I'm doing it. I'm doing that for you. So
But
you don't need to bother.
it is a practice of Kabbalah. It really
Mm-hmm.
is. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I talk to my son a few times a week. He's in Israel. He's living right on the border of Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
And we practice breathing together. And at times when he's having a hard time and I'm having a hard time, or he's having a hard time with something I'm saying, I say, can we just open our hearts to each other and breathe? And my body softens. Literally, the ache and pain softens in my neck and shoulders, my jaw, my
Mm-hmm.
tongue. It's physiological. It's not, there is no mind and body. It's one.
Right. I guess what I'm hearing and what you're saying in part is when we are only in our body or we are only attending to our body and we're uh, in an oppositional relationship with it, which is seeing it as a foe, as an enemy, um, that only just adds to the constriction, right, and suffering of it. But
Oh,
if we like when you're speaking about the breathing, which is really about bringing awareness to the non-physical aspect of ourselves, the soul or her spirit or however people want to understand it, represented by that name of God that you were describing, that can change the relationship. And here's one last question we can squeeze in, I think, which Lori always has great questions. What are some words or images we can use to forgive our body? That's another word we haven't used here, forgiveness, right? It's interesting. We've talked about compassion or acceptance of the body as it is, or letting go of judgment. What words or images, maybe you have something here, Janice, we can use to forgive our body for not being able to do what it used to be able to do, or what we expect it to do, for being dependent on others for help when it seeks freedom and independence and movement to dance again, but perhaps it never will dance again, right?
I don't
So
know that
what about forgiveness? How does forgiveness fit in here?
the word I use for me is not forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
to allow myself to feel the grief and the loss,
Mm-hmm.
but to continue to show up. You know, Sharon Browse's book about showing up to other
Mm-hmm.
people. It's
Mm-hmm.
you showing up to yourself. So you don't have to forgive your body for not being what it used to be able to do, because we don't get to stay 25 and 30 and 50, but we get to stay alive. And what does aliveness feel like? And in the moment that you're feeling constriction, you open to the constriction and you say, yeah, constriction right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to breathe into constriction and see Can I love the constriction in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say, I see you, I feel you? I love the fact that we're in this conversation, Mark, because the dialogue with other people is why I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But the dialogue with other people has to go back to the dialogue with yourself. So in this is just really truly one plug in Navigating the Aging Body, the very first chapter is how do we talk to ourselves? And how do we listen to what our body's telling us?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole primary place. You can't get into awareness if you're in judgment. It takes it away. So if you can be in awareness with love as opposed to awareness with judgment, you'll come back to the breath. And the breath is where our source of life and vitality and possibility is. So I can talk about forgiveness, but I feel like our body's doing what it's doing. Right?
There was a question, yeah. There was a question earlier, and I think we're just about out of time, but I will note what I'm thinking about while listening to you, Janice, is the Jewish tradition that our bodies are like a miniature temple, that we treat them like a temple. There was another question, and there's that piece. And then there was another question that had to do with how is spirituality different for people as they age versus younger people? And just thinking about the role of the temple in Jewish life and the Jewish psyche and the Jewish imagination, which of course temples were built and temples were destroyed. You know, they're meant just, but the buildings themselves were just meant to house actually the essence of it, just as the Ark of the Covenant was meant, and the Holy of Holies in the Tabernacle, which we'll start reading about in a couple of weeks in the Torah cycle, were meant to hold the spirit, empty space, the breath, really, right? The temple is a container for the breath, for the spirit, as you were describing it.
Well, I love this. I mean, we could keep on going.
We
I'll
could,
just,
we could,
I'll,
and we could, and we will.
I
But
just
we're at time.
want to end by just saying thank you for the questions because they're wonderful. And if anybody wants to contact me directly, you
Yeah,
have a website. I'll be in the conversation with you. This is like what I live for. You know, some people think this is like work. This isn't work. This is what gives me joy and breath and life. And um, I'm 73 years old. I started learning the work that I teach when I was 19, and it's as vital to me today as it was when I started studying it. So please
great.
engage with me. I'm happy to. And thank you, Mark, for
Thank
doing
you.
the conversation.
A pleasure, as always. Claire, I see there's a question also for DOROT. If you want to put the link to DOROT. DOROT does offer programming for those who are outside New York City, correct? And you can check it out on their website, which hopefully Claire will put it in. There you got it. There we go. Oh, Rachel put it in. Thank you so
Even
much,
better,
Rachel.
I put a link to our program calendar right under that.
Excellent.
Happy to see.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, well, I want to first thank you, Janice, for beautiful teaching and presence today, and thank Claire for this beginning of this wonderful partnership with DOROT. And we had an amazing turnout today. We had over 330 people for this set. If you were joining us for the first time, come back and visit us often. We're always here. And of course, thanks to Rachel and Andrew for holding our space, and to Shira for sponsoring today's practice, and wishing everyone a restorative and sweet Shabbat. And we hope to see you next week. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.